Hello, and welcome back to the dining room for yet another unboxing. But this one I'm a little excited about because this is the PlayStation VR2. Yes, I spent more than the cost of a PlayStation to get a VR solution. We'll talk about that. If you just want to know
what's in the box,
then skip to the next chapter because that's when I'll start opening the box. But first, as always, I'm going to tell one of my stories about how I came to buy this. So, I've always loved the concept of VR. It's been the execution of VR that I have not been a big fan of. Now, about 5-6 years ago, one of my nieces works for Google. And at Thanksgiving, she had brought this thing. You may have seen it. It's one of the products Google never really did anything with, like Google does. But it was like a cardboard frame that you would put your phone into right in front of your eyes, and it was VR. I mean, you could turn around and look what was behind you. It was way cool. And of course, Google never did anything with that. And then the big thing was Oculus. And I was going, well, you know, my brother bought one, and I thought, well, I might get one of these. Then Facebook bought it. I'm sorry, now Meta. Well, I am not giving Mark Zuckerberg a penny of my money other than the ad rates he gets for me checking to see how my family's doing on Facebook. But so that took the Oculus out, which apparently, from what I've read, is one of the best ones. So I bought a PSVR when it first came out for the PlayStation 4. I don't have to tell you, if you've ever looked at it, you had to have a separate camera, the PlayStation camera. You had to have the Move controllers if you wanted to do. And then there was a box, and then things plugged into the box, and then plugged into the PlayStation, and plugged into... Oh, it was just a horrible... The VR wasn't bad, except for one thing. I could see the pixels. I mean, and like, obviously, because it was 1080 was the resolution. And so when I play VR games, it was just, I could see the pixels, and it just took away from the immersion like that. This one is 4K. Well, 2000 and 2000, and then by 2160 or something like that. So you have 4K instead of 1080. And so, although some of the stuff I've seen, apparently you can still see a little bit, but it's not like, they were big pixels. You could see the big pixels. The way I described it to people with the original PSVR, it was like playing PlayStation 2 games. Where, you know, the blocky pixels, you know, with the sprites. Anyway, but then they announced this. And I went, well, now it costs more than a PS5. It's like, PS5 is $500, this is like $550. But they're doing this bundle with this game, and it's a Horizon Zero Dawn game. I love Horizon Zero Dawn. And then I looked and see what else was going to be available at launch, and there was a Star Wars game, Galaxy's Edge, Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. I said, well, there's a Star Wars game, there's a Horizon Zero Dawn game, I gotta get one. I'm prepared to be disappointed, but I don't think I will be, but I was very disappointed in the original PSVR. It was just, it was so clunky, and there were so many extra components to keep track of, and you had to charge the little Move controllers, and it was dreadful. Now I've got the real thing, version 2. It wasn't that long a story. So now let's open the box and see what people have come here for. As you all know from watching enough unboxings and Sony videos, you know what's in the box. That's right, another box. This is the box within the box. First thing that comes out of the box is the accessory kit, which includes a little manual. More important, my code so I can get my free, well, it's not free, but it's basically included with the price of the Call of the Mountain, the VR version of Horizon Zero Dawn. And there's a USB cable. This is for connecting the controllers and charging them, etc. And there's 2 controllers, and they give you one of these. So it's got a little headset, earbuds, that have a cute way of connecting to the headset, which I will show you briefly. But it's got the little dangly things that, you know, you put in your ears. And it's got, I think it comes with the mediums on, and then there's a small and a large in the little bag. I'm not a big fan of earbuds. I don't like things in my ears. So the next time you see me, I may have one of those cool Pulse Sony headphones, which, not surprisingly, happen to fit right over this headset. And so you can wear them with this. and then I won't have things poking in my ears, so I'll probably be happier. By the way, that's another $100. Oh, and I also bought the chargers for the handset, for the controllers. All in, I'm going to be about $800 and something in, and that's not counting the PS5. Sony is being a little ecological, so what they've done is the inside of this box, this is made from, they have a video, it's like bamboo, and basically it's all organic and biodegradable. This is not plastic. And you can use it to store this when you're not, you can put the controllers and the headset back in here, close the box, put the box away, so you have a handy place to store it. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's start with the important thing. VR systems live or die on their headsets. If the headset's good, you'll put up with a lot. If the headset sucks, like the PSVR, the original PSVR, which I thought the headset sucked. First thing people are going to complain about, in fact, I've already seen videos where people are complaining about it, it's hardwired. It's not wireless. But you get a lot out of this wired thing because the wireless headsets, typically they're running the graphics in the headset. This is getting it from the PlayStation, from the PS5. And it's about a 14.7 foot cable, so which means you're going to have to be within 15 feet of your PS5 at all times. I have a big living room, so this may be an issue for me. This headset has a lot of cool things. These are cameras, so it uses it to see where the room is, and when we do the setup, you'll see that it'll figure out where your room is and let you adjust your boundaries. There's a button under here, power button, the PlayStation button to turn it on. But this little button over on this side changes the display to what's the camera seeing. So basically, if you have the headset on and you want to see what's going on in your room, you just press that button, and now you're looking through these cameras. It's black and white. It's a black and white image. But you're looking through these cameras. The third thing over here is a microphone. Next thing, let's look at how you put it on. This button lets you adjust how far away the lenses are from your eyes. They recommend you move it out every time you put it on. On the other side, away from the button that pulls it in and out, is a little thing. Can you see it moving the lenses apart? You need to get the lenses aligned with your eyes. Well, for one thing, they have like Fresnel lenses, so it's really only ultra sharp and clear right at the center. So you need the little center things in the Fresnel lenses lined up with your pupils. It's more than that, because one of the other things this thing does, it primarily builds out and has the highest resolution where you're looking. It's called foveated rendering. Basically, what you're looking at will be the sharpest thing on the screen in front of you, but the things out on your peripheral vision will be a little blurry because they won't be rendering them as fully, but it saves a lot of processing power. The little screens in here for each eye, again, each one is 2000 by 22 something. So it's each eye gets half of 4K width. The little screens are OLED. So perfect blacks, all the advantages of OLED. And you can see also it has a very nice gasket here that keeps the light out. And then you got this button on the back, which lets you make it real big. Let me make myself look completely stupid. Can you see this little? You can tighten it up. So it's nice and snug. I've got no light leakage. There is zero light coming in here. I'm sitting in a little pitch dark space. So the gasket works great. There's a little pressure on my nose, but not a lot. Less than glasses. Oh, and by the way, you can wear this. So here, let me take this off. You can wear this with glasses. We're not quite done with the headset yet because there's one other thing it has, which is around here for our little earbuds. You see there's a hole right here, locks in there, and then over here is the headphone jack. So if you're using your own headphones, you would plug them in there, but here, and so now you have your earbuds attached. And they thought of everything because if you look here on the sides, they're little earbud holders. So you can pop your earbuds in there, and then they're not flopping around when you're carrying this around. Well, let's look at the controllers then. These are a huge improvement over the PSVR, the original, because you either use the regular PlayStation controller or you had those move controllers. I don't know if you remember those. You hold them in your hand like batons, and they had little balls that glowed on the end. And that was how the camera on the PSVR would see where your hand was that light. Well, this one knows you're moving. Oh, and it comes with wrist straps. You strap them to your wrist. If anything goes wrong, if it flies out. You remember the Wii? People kept breaking their TV sets because they'd be flailing and the controller would fly out of their hand and shatter the TV. That's what these wrist straps are for. The Wii had them too, but no one ever used them. They really are relatively comfortable. They've split the controls. So the triangle, and I'll adapt to it, but to hit these buttons with my thumb, my joint down here is banging against the thing. You have to keep your thumbs over this way, and then you can hit, and then the circle and the X are on the other side. And then you have your left joystick and your right joystick. And then you have that little capture button that no one ever uses to take pictures and stuff. The options button is over on this side, for pausing the game and whatnot. Then, like the DualSense, by the way, these are called Sense controllers. I guess because they're each single sense, because their DualSense has all in one. L2 and R2 are these. And L1 and R1 are these guys. So you do L1 and R1 with your second finger, and then your trigger finger is for the L2 and R2. But in most shooter games, those are your triggers. Well, actually, on the DualSense, they're the bottom ones. Here, they're the top ones. And both sides have a PlayStation button, so you can pause the game and do stuff. While we're on the subject of the controllers, I also bought the charging station for the controllers. You open this up, you see this box that has a little picture on it that shows these little things. Well, these are USB-C. These are the interfaces for the docking station here. So you see where the cables plug in here, and where those little buds will go is right there. So when you're done playing, you just set them down, boom, and they're charging. The people that got them early say that these things, the battery life is about 3 to 5 hours. But see, then when you're ready to play, boom, they're fully charged, you're ready to go. I can already tell, I'm probably not gonna put the wrist strap on. Oh, the other thing is, I don't know if the camera will catch. This is textured. Well, if you zoom in really close, it's little teeny tiny X's, O's, squares, and triangles. Like the DualSense, these are haptic and give you feedback. So when you're pulling down, apparently like in Horizon Zero Dawn, when you're pulling the bow back, you can feel it in here. All in all, it looks like a pretty cool little thing. And then, of course, here's the power plug for the charger. And that's what comes in there. Do not lose your little charging things. In fact, be careful with all of this stuff because Sony isn't selling parts for this stuff yet. So if you break stuff, you may have to just buy a whole new one. That's the PSVR2 unboxing. I gotta tell you, just I haven't plugged it in yet. I will do another video about the setup and show you some gameplay. Now, you can't really show the gameplay, right? But what you're seeing in here will also be on the screen, on your TV screen that your PS5 is hooked up to. If you're not using 4K 120. These little screens in here support 4K at 120 Hertz. Oh, and they're also HDR. So it's HDR, 4K, default 60 frames per second, but you can also go to 120 frames per second. But you have to go in on your PlayStation 5 and turn off 4K 120 for your HDMI out in order to turn it on for these. And you go, well, okay, well, that's not so bad, because if I'm looking at here, I don't care that it's not showing 4K 120 on the screen. It's not showing anything on the screen. When you turn on 4K 120 here, it gets that extra processing power by stop feeding the HDMI out. The other reason I'm only doing an unboxing and not the whole setup, because, well, A, it would be a really long video, and y'all are probably already bored and getting ready to leave. But I need to get back to Hogwarts Legacy. I've got Dark Wizards to kill. That's the unboxing and my initial thoughts. My initial thoughts are almost all positive. The only negatives is it's cheap, kind of cheap plasticky feel. But on the other hand, I think that's what makes it so, it's very light. And like when it was sitting on my head, it weighed nothing. Most people who have had it for a while say that after about 2-3 hours tops, you have to stop and take it off because it gets to you. But I'm pretty impressed. with the hardware. Haven't seen the software yet. That'll be in the next video. That's the unboxing of the PSVR2 and the charging station. There'll be another video coming very soon where I'll set this up and show you some gameplay and show you how to use it. And then down the road, after I've played through some more games, I'll actually do a full review of it. But so far, hardware only, looking pretty good. Of course, again, costs more than the PlayStation. But again, OLED, I'm pretty impressed. And everything's soft. It just feels very cushiony on your head. I think it's going to work out. But come back and we'll see. So thanks for stopping by to watch me unbox my new toy. And then come back and watch me set up and play with my new toy. See you next time. Bye-bye.